Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you. We're getting back into politics, baby. And is Trump, we had something, a pretty momentous occasion. Is Trump turning his back on Israel? Some people certainly think so. Let's take a look at this article here. Cutting off communications, did Trump really just turn his back on Israel? This is from Palestine Chronicle. Israel is in a weak position, and Netanyahu's extremism knows no bounds. The only way around an eventual regional war is the ousting of the Israeli prime minister. U.S. President Donald Trump has closed his line of communications with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, according to various reports citing officials. This comes amidst alleged growing pressure on Israel regarding Gaza and the abrupt halt to American operations against Ansar Allah in Yemen. So is this all an act, or is the U.S. finally pressuring Israel? On May 1st, news broke that Donald Trump had suddenly ousted his national security advisor, Mike Waltz. According to a Washington Post article on the issue, the ouster was in part a response to Waltz's undermining of the president for having engaged in intense coordination with the Israeli PM Netanyahu regarding the issue of attacking Iran prior to the Israeli premier's visit to the Oval Office. Some analysts, considering that Waltz has been pushing for a war with Iran, argued that his ouster was a signal that Trump administration's pro-diplomacy voices were pushing back against the hawks. That's good. A lot of neocons and war hawks in Trump's cabinet. That was something that really bothered me when he won, obviously. And we all know, if you've been paying attention to politics or Trump for any length of time, you know this guy was absolutely 100% gung-ho on Israel. This guy was Netanyahu's best friend there. I mean, Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem during his first term. We know, this guy is like the biggest Zionist on the planet. But apparently, from what I heard, Netanyahu's doing some back alley dealings with Iran or something, and Trump doesn't like that. He's tried to, I guess he feels Netanyahu's undermining him, and Trump, as a very fragile ego, could he actually grant Palestinian statehood over this just to spite Netanyahu? That'd be interesting to see. But the shift also came at a time when U.S.-Iran talks had stalled, largely thanks to pressure campaign from the Israeli lobby, leading U.S. think tanks and Israeli officials like Ron Dermer. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Trump publicly announced the end to a campaign designed to destroy and degrade Yemen's Ansar Allah-led government in Sana's on May 6th. According to Israeli media, citing government sources, the leadership in Tel Aviv was shocked by the move to end operations against Yemen, essentially leaving the Israelis to deal with the Ansar Allah alone. After this, more information began to leak, originating from the Israeli Hebrew language media, claiming that the Trump administration was demanding Israel reach an agreement for aid to be delivered to Gaza, in addition to signing a ceasefire agreement. The other major claim is that President Trump has grown so frustrated with Netanyahu that he has cut communication with him directly. Although neither side has officially declared details on the reported rift between the two sides, a few days ago, the Israeli Prime Minister released a social media video claiming that he would act alone to defend Israel. On Friday morning, another update came in that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will be canceling his planned visit to Israel. I also found this. It's a Substack talking about it. Pretty long article. I can leave a link to this down in the video description below so you guys can read this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's quite lengthy, but very good, very informed discussion here of how desperate Israel's becoming with, it's what it seems like American, the American practice of backing up Israel no matter what, supplying them with weapons, other diplomatic actions. It seems the well is running dry for Israel, and they're growing more desperate, which comes as, good news for a lot of pro-Palestine people. The past few days have come alive with news that Trump administration has had enough of Israel's intransigence and is veering towards a hardball plan B in its goal to stabilize the Middle East. First came reports that Trump is allegedly readying to recognize Palestine as a state, then take over Gaza as a temporary American administration in imitation of the British mandate of the early 20th century. Jerusalem Post quotes an anonymous source. A Gulf diplomatic source who declined to be named or disclose his position told the media line President Donald Trump will issue a declaration regarding the state of Palestine and American recognition of it, and there will be the establishment of a Palestinian state without the presence of Hamas. Many are rightfully skeptical, as there have been several big claims of this sort that amounted to nothing. However, it was Trump himself who boasted of something unprecedented being in the works for the region though usually his hyperbolic toots have amounted to big letdowns. I got some hyperbolic toots for you. Anyways, the article cites other reasons not to expect anything quite so drastic. Ahmed al-Ibrahim, a former Gulf diplomat, told the media line, I don't expect it to be about Palestine. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and King Abdullah II of Jordan have not been invited. They are the two countries closest to Palestine, and it would be important for them to be present at an event like this. But this one dubious scoop is only tip of the iceberg. More and more, the entire establishment appears to be turning against the apartheid state. It seems even the elites can no longer stomach the brazenness of Israelis' crimes, which is saying something. Either that or they're resentful of how bad Israel's making them look by openly flaunting its genocidal appetites. Can't you murder those Palestinians a little more quietly? The elites seem to groan. For instance, there's bloodthirsty war addict Christiane Amanpour recently expressing her disgust at the Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell's callousness. Let's check this out.
Foreign Minister, are you denying that people have died of starvation in Gaza? Are you denying that there was a famine, that famine is imminent now? Because this is categorized and reported by international doctors, international humanitarians.
Look,
are you denying that seriously?
These are complete lies. And I'll tell you what, we heard it a year ago. You heard about the starvation and you saw that it was a lie. And this is the
No, but we didn't. That's why I'm asking you.
Absolutely. And I want to say that. Look, I know that there's a lot of reporters who prefer their information and their data coming from a terrorist organization like Hamas, who is using it as a tool to try and stop us from, from fighting this terrorist organization. But the fact is that almost all of these reports are based on the lies of a terrorist organization. Okay. And when we, as a democratic state with checks and balances and judicial system, give the information and give data through experts, through their legal systems, through COGAT, then you take it with a grain of salt. I think you should.
Yeah, nobody really looks that good in this instance. Israel certainly doesn't. I know she's like caping for her home country or whatever, as these people typically do. But Israel doesn't have a lot of credibility lately. I'm not saying that means we should take Hamas's word on this stuff, of course, but at a certain point, it's like you got to ask yourself about this kind of information going forward. And she's obviously going to have very strong feelings about Hamas and whatnot, but it seems like a lot of young Americans, judging by the protests that are starting to kick off again, a lot of stuff going out of Columbia, other Ivy League schools. It's starting like last summer with the BDS protests. It seems like a lot of people are willing to take Hamas at their word over Israeli state media, and that's pretty bad for Israel. But let's go on to this. Let's get a little bit more into this. Now, there have been reports that AIPAC is getting shut out of Trump's administration entirely. Just spoke with the general who's in the Mar-a-Lago crowd. He said that AIPAC is getting shut out of the Trump administration. Confirmed that Walls is trying to undermine Trump by working with Netanyahu, and said he's hopeful that U.S. will decouple from Mossad and M16. This comes alongside news that SecDef Pete Hegseth canceled the trip to Israel. Yep. That wasn't bad enough. Iraq war-era arch neocon and three-time Pulitzer-winning journalist Thomas L. Friedman has dropped his bombshell piece, which really reflects the current pulse behind the scene. The Israeli government is not our ally. Gee whiz. What tipped you off, Tommy? Sorry, first allow me to retract the above description. According to Trump Homeland Security Advisor Council appointee Mark Levin, it is no longer felicitous to use the above term. By the way, a neocon is a pejorative for Jew. Unbelievable. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. These fucking people and their victim complexes. Incredible. Well, it's not a neocon. Let's just say Friedman has been accused of openly supporting Israeli terrorism before, but even he has apparently drawn the line at naked genocide. In his open letter to President Trump, he warns, it suggests to me that you are starting to understand and a vital truth that this Israeli government is behaving in ways that threaten hardcore U.S. interests in the region. Netanyahu is not our friend. And basically, I read this before, this article before, it basically goes on to say, like, a lot of these neocon guys, they're not concerned. Same thing with Trump. He's not concerned with Palestinian lives. He's concerned with how Israel's bloodthirst is making America look, making the neocon project look. That's what they're really concerned about now. But imagine being so bloodthirsty, being so genocidal as Israelis and Zionists are, that you're turning off Donald Trump and the Trump administration and all the people he appoints. That is really something. Let's get into this. I have no doubt that, generally speaking, the Israeli people continue to see themselves as steadfast allies of the American people and vice versa. But this ultra-nationalist, messianic Israeli government is not America's ally, because this is the first government in Israel's history whose priority is not peace with more of its Arab neighbors and the benefits that greater security with coexistence would bring. Its priority is the annexation of the West Bank, the expulsion of the Palestinians of Gaza, and the reestablishment there of Israeli settlements. Okay, let's check out what Twitter has to say about this. Trump recognizing a Palestinian state is going to make people lose their minds. This is insane. In the last 24 hours, we've been told that Donald Trump is going to cut ties with Israel and AIPAC lobby, recognize a Palestinian state. I'll believe it when I see it, and if I do, I'll admit I was wrong. If that all happens, everyone better pray for that dude, because they'll be coming for him hard. Yes, exactly. Ian brings up a very good point. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm very, very, very skeptical of any of this actually unfolding. I'm firmly in the school of thought that nothing ever happens, and this kind of shit is just going to keep going on and going on, with Palestine getting turned into a parking lot by Israel. Gaza specifically. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how this shakes out. A Gulf diplomatic source states Trump will soon issue a declaration regarding American recognition of Palestine. This comes from his strained relations between Trump and Netanyahu due to Israeli Prime Minister's attempt to spy on Trump. Oh yeah, turn his people against him, start a war with Iran, and sabotage American nuclear negotiations with Iran. That's what I meant to say earlier when I talked about how Netanyahu was going behind his back. Like, I heard something like tangentially or something off the cuff about like some deal, like he was trying to like backstab Trump on some Iran weapons deal, or just like nuclear negotiations or whatnot. But yeah, this is turning into a real big mess for Netanyahu, man. Christie says, "Oh, let's go on to this. What else we got?" Okay, Trump posted this in 2020. This is what the future state of Palestine can look like with the capital parts of East Jerusalem. Trump just took Gaza away from Israel. Let the process play out. This man has a plan. I don't know, bud. We'll see. Lots of fake news spreading about Caroline Leavitt saying that Trump would recognize the Palestinian state. The quote is fake. Well, they said, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, said, they alleged, she said, there will be absolutely no recognition of a Palestinian state at all. President Trump's relationship with Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu is very strong. And all this, yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit. Oh, brother. Interesting stuff unfolding, definitely. But what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I think Palestinian statehood would be extremely beneficial. America breaking free of its relationship with Netanyahu and Israel would be good. In any case, Israel is getting very desperate. They're losing their standing on the world stage. People have very little sympathy for them. People are really, the pro-Israel crowd, the Zionist people, they're looking like real assholes right now, to put kind of a dumb guy spin on this. But yeah, that was my analysis. Hope you liked it. But that's all I got for you guys for right now. Like, comment, subscribe, donate to my Cash App if you want to support the channel. And I will talk to you guys later.
Ryan Little.